students, welcome back to class. This week we'll be working on synonyms and antonyms, which you will be tested on when you return to school to see if you can continue on to the next grade. So let's jump right in. Let's start off with a do now. So here's the question I have for you. What is the opposite of good? Okay, so I feel like most of you probably said something like bad, right? Which is correct. Bad is the opposite of good. However, next question. I had a day today. I got sick, I lost my phone, a cat bit me, I fell and hurt my knee, and I failed my exam. Now, what's a good word that we can fill in this blank to make the sentence make sense? Bad is one. Did you say bad? You could have also said horrible, terrible, disastrous, awful, dreadful, atrocious, abominable, miserable, or even lousy. And what do we call these words? They're synonyms. What are synonyms? Synonyms are words or phrases that mean exactly or nearly the same thing. And we're going to go over what those two kind of different things are. So let's look at the first example. We have bad and poor. Now, let's look at this sentence. I did a bad or poor job on the exam. So let's pretend it's two sentences. I did a bad job on the exam. I did a poor job on the exam. These are two different sentences, but because these words are synonyms, they actually mean exactly the same in this sentence. In other sentences, it might be different, but in this sentence, they are perfect synonyms. If I say one sentence or the other, it'll mean the exact same thing. But let's look at the second example. Bad and awful. I had a bad day today. I had an awful day today. Now, pretend it's your friend saying this. On Monday, they say, I had a bad day. But then on Tuesday, they say, I had an awful day. If you were comparing Monday and Tuesday, which one would you think is a little bit worse? The bad day or the awful day? You might think awful, right? That's what we mean by nearly the same. So synonyms can be exactly the same, like in the first sentence, or they can be nearly the same, like in the second sentence. So both of them mean bad, but there's different levels of bad happening, right? So we have bad, and then up here we might have awful, like really, really, really bad. So we use synonyms to help add meaning to sentences because there is a slight difference between having a bad day and a terrible day, right? Now let's think about antonyms. What are antonyms? Antonyms are words or phrases that are opposites. We have bad, and its antonym is good. Now let's look at these two sentences. I did a bad or a good job on the exam. I had a bad or a good day today. Unlike with synonyms, something very, very different happens if we try to replace a word with its antonym in a sentence, right? If you replace a word with its antonym, it'll completely change the meaning of a sentence. If your friend on Monday says, oh, I had a good day today, but then on Tuesday they say that they had a bad day, that's two completely different things, right? So that's what antonyms do. They will completely change the meaning of a sentence if you replace it with that word. So you might be wondering, why should I bother knowing about synonyms and antonyms? How is that helpful for me? Well, for one thing, it helps you with reading comprehension. If you're reading and you encounter a word that you don't know, but you remember a synonym of it, that'll help you understand that word. It also makes your writing a little bit more interesting, kind of like in the first example. There's a big difference between saying you had a bad day and an awful day. So it makes your writing a bit more interesting and more specific. Okay, now let's get to practice. I have prepared 4 brain-building exercises. So we're going to start with the first one. I'll walk you through it, and then we'll go to the next one. So for this first one, I'm going to give you a list of pairs of words, okay? So 2 words. And I want you to write S if they are synonyms and A if they are antonyms. So for example, say we have number 1, and number 1 has good, bad. Good and bad. Are they synonyms or are they antonyms? They're antonyms, right? We just went over this. They're antonyms. So you write the letter A. Make sense? All right, here is the list. So pause the video now. Write these pairs of words in your notebook or on a piece of paper. And if they are synonyms, write the letter S. And if they are antonyms, write the letter A. Pause the video now, and when you're ready to see the answers, come back to the video. Are you ready to see the answers? Okay, let's take a look. How did you do? To make it a little bit easier for you to see, I put all of the antonyms in red and all the synonyms in green. So pause the video, check your answers, and when you're ready to continue on to exercise B, come back to the video. All right, time for exercise B. For this one, I want you to match each word to its synonym or antonym. So it's a little bit more complicated than the first exercise. So let's look at this example. 1 through 8 are the words that you start with, and on the right side is either its synonym or its antonym. So for ancient, you don't know if you're looking for the synonym or you're looking for the antonym. So your brain has to do two things at once, okay? So pause the video, write these down. You can either draw lines between them or just write the letter. When I tell you the answer, I will just be telling you the letters, so it might be a good idea to write the letter. So pause the video now, and when you're ready to see the answers, come back to the video. You ready to see the answers? All right. Again, I put the synonyms in green and the antonyms in red. So check to see how you did, and when you're ready, go on to exercise C. All right, let's do exercise C now. For this one, we're going to bring in analogies. So if you don't know what that is, don't worry, I'll walk you through it right now. For example, we might have good is to bad, as happy is to glad, sad, excited. So what you need to do first is look at the left side, okay? You need to look at the first part. So in this case, good and bad. And you need to ask yourself, what is the relationship between these two words, good and bad? Are they synonyms or are they antonyms? They're antonyms, right? So to make it easy for us to remember, I put it in red, okay? So good and bad are antonyms. Now we get to look at the right side of the sentence. So we need to look at happy. So good and bad are antonyms, right? So that means what we need to do with happy is find its antonym. So we need to look at glad, sad, and excited. Which one of those is the antonym of happy? It's sad, right? So this is what you need to do for this exercise. Look at the left side, determine if it is synonyms or antonyms, and then do the right side of the sentence to match it, okay? So here are the sentences. Pause the video now, write these down, and when you're ready to see the answers, come back to the video. Are you ready to see the answers? Okay. Again, red are the antonyms and green are the synonyms. All right, time for our final exercise, and this is one that we did in our phonics class, okay? What you need to do is change the words one at a time going up the ladder. And remember, pay attention to the clues and the number of letters in each word. All right, time for our last exercise. Pause the video now, write down this word ladder in your notebook or on a piece of paper, and then try to fill it in as best you can, paying attention to the clues. Okay, so from heat, you need to change one letter to give you the synonym of listen. Once you have that word, if you change one letter, you'll get the synonym of tear, and so on up the ladder. So try to do it on your own, and when you're ready to walk through the answers with me, come back to the video. All right, let's get started. If we change one letter of heat, then we will get here, and that is a synonym of listen. Now, if we change one letter of the word here, we get fear, and that's a synonym of terror. Now, if we take away or remove one letter from fear, we'll get the antonym of near, which is far, right? And then, if we add one letter, we'll get the antonym of unfair. This is a little bit easy. Fair, you just add the I. All right, that's the end of this lesson. Hope you learned a lot and did some good review of synonyms and antonyms, and I hope that your brain muscles are sore tomorrow. Now, you might be wondering, how can I practice synonyms and antonyms over the break? Well, a really good thing that you can do is read. Reading is a great way to improve your vocabulary, okay? Another thing you can do is read. Seriously, the more you read, the more vocabulary you will gain, and the better you will get at reading comprehension. Now, the last thing that you can do if you want to improve your synonyms and antonyms is read. Read, read, read. That is how you can improve your synonyms and antonyms and be ready to take your test when you come back to school. All right, hope you learned a lot. Head to the Google Classroom for some more practice, and I'll see you next week. Bye.